The void of space trembled as 10,000 warships of the Zephyrian hegemony assembled in perfect formation, their crystalline hulls gleaming like deadly stars against the cosmic darkness. Admiral Vextar clicked his mandibles in satisfaction as he surveyed the massive fleet from the bridge of his flagship. No force in the galaxy had ever challenged the hegemony's supremacy until today. "Admiral," his communications officer hissed through translator circuits, "the human colony of New Terra continues to refuse our ultimatum. They claim their independence under some primitive document they call a constitution." Vextar's compound eyes flared with indignation. Humans, those upstart mammals who had only recently crawled from their single world, daring to defy the hegemony that had ruled the galaxy for millennia. "Prepare the orbital bombardment cannons. We'll teach these primitives the price of defiance." Aboard the mining station orbiting New Terra, Commander Kanat Torres pressed her palm against the reinforced viewport, watching the alien armada positioning itself with military precision. Her weathered face, marked by years of frontier life, remained calm despite the overwhelming odds. Behind her, the station's small crew of miners and engineers looked to her for leadership. "Commander," came the voice of Malice Chen, her young communications officer, "we're receiving another demand for surrender. They're giving us one final hour." Kanat turned from the viewport, her steely gray eyes meeting those of her crew. "Any word from Earth Command?" Malice shook her head, her dark hair catching the emergency lighting. "Nothing, ma'am. We're on our own out here." The mining station's modest defensive systems were laughable against such overwhelming force. 6 outdated pulse cannons and basic shielding, equipment designed to ward off pirates, not face a galactic armada. Yet Kanat had not survived 3 decades on the frontier by surrendering at the first sign of trouble. "Malice, send a message to the hegemony fleet," Kanat commanded, straightening her shoulders. "Tell them that New Terra stands free, and if they want it, they'll have to take it from us." The young officer's fingers flew across her console, transmitting humanity's defiant response across the void. Within minutes, the Zephyrian fleet began moving into bombardment positions, their weapon systems charging with ominous energy. As the first salvo prepared to launch, space itself seemed to tear open behind the human colony. A massive temporal distortion rippled through the fabric of reality, and from it emerged something that made the entire hegemony fleet pause in absolute terror. The human Dreadnought Indomitable materialized from its faster-than-light jump like a beast awakening from slumber. Where the alien ships were graceful and crystalline, the human vessel was a monument to industrial might. 2 kilometers of armored steel, bristling with weapon systems that defied conventional understanding. Its hull bore the scars of 100 battles, each mark a testament to humanity's refusal to yield. "By the void," Vextar whispered, his voice barely audible as sensor readings flooded his screens. "What manner of monstrosity is this?" The Dreadnought's energy signature was unlike anything in hegemony databases. While their ships relied on elegant energy manipulation and refined crystal technology, the human vessel radiated raw, brutal power. Its reactors burned with the fury of caged stars, and its weapon systems drew energy directly from controlled antimatter reactions that should have been impossible to contain. "Sir," Vextar's tactical officer reported, mandibles chattering with fear. "That ship, it's broadcasting on all frequencies." The voice that emerged from their speakers was calm, measured, and utterly human. "This is Admiral Sarah Cross of the Terran Defense Force aboard the Dreadnought Indomitable. You are in violation of human sovereign space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Vextar's pride overcame his shock. 1 ship against 10,000. Even a ship that size couldn't possibly threaten his entire armada. "Human Admiral, you are outnumbered 10,000 to 1. Surrender now and we may show mercy." The response came not in words but in action. The Indomitable's main batteries opened fire, and space erupted in controlled destruction. Humanity had learned warfare from 1,000 conflicts across their violent history, refining the art of war through bloodshed and necessity. Their weapons didn't rely on elegant energy manipulation. They simply erased matter from existence. 16 hegemony cruisers vanished in the first volley, their sophisticated shields useless against weapons that bypassed conventional defenses entirely. The human Dreadnought's point defense systems came online simultaneously, creating a sphere of absolute destruction around the ship that no enemy weapon could penetrate. Impossible. Vextar shrieked as his fleet's return fire dissipated harmlessly against the human ship's defenses. Our databases show no record of such technology, but the humans had learned something the hegemony, in all their millennia of dominance, had never understood. While the aliens had spent eons perfecting their existing technologies, humanity had faced extinction repeatedly and learned to innovate or die. Every war, every conflict, every desperate last stand had pushed them to develop new ways to survive against impossible odds. The Indomitable moved through the hegemony fleet like a shark through minnows, its weapons systems systematically eliminating threats with clinical efficiency. Where alien ships relied on formation fighting and coordinated tactics, the human Dreadnought was designed to fight alone against overwhelming odds, because that's how humans had always fought their wars. On New Terra, Kanat and her crew watched in amazement as the single human ship carved through the alien armada. Malice gripped her console, tears streaming down her face as she witnessed humanity's refusal to bow before any force in the galaxy. "Commander," she whispered, "we're receiving a transmission from the Indomitable." Admiral Cross's face appeared on their screens, weathered like Kanat's own, marked by the same frontier determination. "Commander Torres, this is Admiral Cross. Sorry we're late to the party. Earth Command sends their regards." Within an hour, the remnants of the hegemony fleet fled into hyperspace, carrying word across the galaxy that humanity would not kneel. The Indomitable remained in orbit around New Terra, a silent guardian that spoke louder than any diplomatic declaration. As Kanat watched the Dreadnought patrol their space, she smiled grimly. The galaxy had learned today what humans had always known, that some things were worth fighting for regardless of the odds. In the depths of space, humanity's message rang clear. They would not go quietly into the dark.